So I'm going to start from the back of the kayak, and we'll start with the motor on the rudder, and we'll work our way up to the front. So on the back, very early on, we collaborated with Vibe, and Vibe designed this, what they call a gravity rudder. And the gravity rudder basically comes stock with this cap on the rudder. The cap's got 4 nuts and bolts. You pop that cap off, and then you can slide on a Bixpy Jet right onto that rudder. And it's literally like you're motorizing that rudder in less than a minute. So you've got cap comes off, motor goes on, you're done. You run your wire to the side to your battery. Your battery doesn't quite reach under the seat, but you can buy an extension cord, and you can get it all the way to under the seat if you wanted to, or you can have it sitting. If you've got any sort of crate or fishing crate or anything, you can have it sitting on the side. You can even have it sitting on the back, obviously. And the motor does pull up with the existing, where are we? With the existing rudder pull up. It's a little hard to do it like this because you do have to have your motor even. So if it's tilting to one side or the other, it won't pull up as well. But once you're sitting in the boat, you've got your feet on the foot steering, then it's easy. You just sort of make sure it's in the middle and pull your motor up, and you lock it down. Motor's completely out of the water, nice and clean. When you're ready to get back in the water, you let it go, and gravity takes it back into the water, thus called the gravity rudder. So that is the simplest way to motorize a Vibe kayak. Now, we sell this rudder on our website as well, and we call this a universal rudder. And the reason we call it a universal rudder is because this will go on to pretty much, it's going to be hard to get out of here because it's all tied down, but I can open those. You can pretty much put this rudder on any kayak that has a 10 millimeter standard rudder pin holder. So if I can get this out of here, still no. A little more opening. Almost there. Almost there. There we go. There we go. So any kayak that has a 10 millimeter rudder pin holder. So the Vibe kayaks all have it built in already. And if you don't have a 10 millimeter rudder adapter, we do sell what is called a gudgeon on our website. We have a simple one that's basically a C bracket that just attaches to the back of pretty much anything. And we also have a very complicated looking one that's called the will fit gudgeon. And the idea with that is it sort of wraps around the back of smaller kayaks, and you can mold the stainless steel, get it onto pretty much any kayak you want to put a rudder and a motor on. So that is our rudder adapter on the Vibe. Again, the Shearwater ships with this gravity rudder when you get it, so it's as easy as popping it in. Other Vibe kayaks don't. They may now, but up until now, as far as I know, they ship with a standard rudder. So you can swap out to the gravity rudder and have the motor on there very easily. So from there, we go to our battery, obviously. Battery sits there, runs your motor off your wristband that you can either wear on your wrist or on your seat or pretty much anywhere you can find a place to Velcro it to. Daryl's here today. We move up to the front, and we're going to stay on the motors. The Vibe Shearwater, at least, comes with this flex pod, I believe they call it, which basically allows you to take the middle part of the kayak out and swap it out for different modular pods, I guess. So this particular one is to put your pedal drive in. We have 2 other ones here as well. We've got just a space holder one, which is basically just a box, essentially. And we also have the one that acts as a dry pod with a lid. So what we've done with this one, I can never quite figure out how to open this thing either. But what we've done here is we've used our DIY pod adapter. There we go. So we've used our DIY pod adapter to put the motor on there. I don't know if you guys can see that, right? So all of this is sold as an adapter with the inside plate and with all the nuts and bolts. So you can install that on this pod if you have it, and that just pops right in there again. And you run the wire off the front. You do have to cut a tiny little hole here on the foam just to get the wire out. Okay, but once it's out, you can easily just replace that. Just put that there. And you guys can see the motor underneath. Oops, that's how we lock this. That's it. So that's one way definitely of motorizing that thing. So you would use our DIY pod adapter. The other way, if you do have the pedal drive adapter, let's get this out. So there's DIY pod adapter. If you have the regular pedal drive adapter, we do have our low profile pedal drive adapter that fits Hobies, Vibe, Van Honks, Pelicans, and all the other kayaks that have the same pedal drive, basically that Mirage drive from Hobie. And that fits right in there, nice and easy, locks in, and that's it. You can get a view from underneath there. Okay, so that's yet another option. So we've got 1, 2, 3 options for motorizing this boat. You can also put that DIY pod adapter on here, although you don't have access to the inside. So instead of screwing it in, you can get rivets and you can rivet that right onto that pod adapter. So on either of these two guys, DIY pod adapter, pedal drive adapter, rudder adapter. The Shearwater does have 2 power pole mounting holes on the 2 sides here on the back, but unfortunately they are for power poles that go perpendicular to the kayak. So you can't really use that or power pole adapter back there. You can, but it won't kick up. So you can put the power pole adapter up there, coming off the sides of your kayak, but it won't kick up anymore because that latch mechanism is gonna hold it sort of sideways. So that's not as good of an option. So there's our motor options. And now we go to our batteries. So we've got our PP77 AP here, which gives you 5 volt and 12 volt out. The 12 volt we have with a switch here, so you can turn it off from the battery. You can obviously turn off your fish finder from the fish finder itself. So this is high output 12 volt, as we've got indicated in all the publications, so that you can run pumps and pretty much anything that draws high power out of the battery. So unlike most lithium batteries that are capped at about 8 to 10 amps, you'll be able to run lots of stuff with this guy that you can otherwise. We also have a smart USB charger there, so you can charge your iPhone or your smartphones about an hour and a half for a full charge. And everything's waterproof, obviously, everything's sealed, so you don't need to worry about getting it wet. You can have it under your seat. You can put it inside your kayaks and hatches and stuff. And that battery will charge with our Sun 45 solar panel, which charges all of our small auxiliary batteries. And of course, we've got the bigger solar panel now that charges our outboard battery. So we got the complete lineup here, guys. So if you want to deck out your kayak with lots of cool, super rugged electronics, we got accessory batteries, we got the motors, we got all the options for the adapters. Of course, we have another dozen or so adapters for different applications, paddle boards, Trans Am adapters, and everything else. So thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon.